We should be live, ladies.
Yay, we're live.
Yay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday Wake Up. I'm Tammy McKee, and I'm with the Greater Snohomish Network. Woo! Women's Council.
Yes, and I'm Lisa Steffen, and I am the treasurer for 2021.
Yay.
And we are very excited to have Brandy Hekker of Caliber Home Loans with us today. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here and honored that you asked me. So thank you very much.
Well, we're excited to learn everything about you, business, personal. Everything's on the table.
Okay.
No.
Don't be too afraid.
We'll keep it clean, right? No. So tell us a little bit about how you got in the business, how long you've been in the business.
Sure. So my first mortgage loan, I actually started out in banking when I was in college with Washington Mutual back in 1985. And did my first mortgage loan in 99, back when it was, blue notes and the file folder, you had to have your stacking order, and we bag mailed everything with courier back and forth to processing and escrow, right? So I was with Washington Mutual really through 2007, then was laid off and took some time and went and worked in the schools. Had my third daughter. I have three girls, 26, 20, and 13. And so took a little time there and kind of went back to mortgage full steam in 2012, working for Union Bank and managing a group there. Since then, kind of have worked my way through, worked at U.S. Bank as a producer, and then BECU for a long period, again, managing a team there, and just decided, my skill set really lies in working with the clients and being out in the community and kind of being the face of the business. So I decided to make the jump last fall and make a move to Caliber. And I'm very happy with my decision to do so. It's been a great 6 months. And I chose Caliber because really the culture and just watching, over time that market share and having that market share year over year be number one in Washington, it just speaks a lot to, the agent reputation that we have and just the brand recognition. So that's kind of why I made the decision to land there. And we're helping them open the office now in Snohomish, which I'm super excited about.
So where in Snohomish?
So we have a space on First Street, which is great. I love it down there.
Fun
Yeah,
there, isn't it?
lots
Yeah.
of good restaurants, bars, shopping, right? I'm going to have to, keep myself
In the office, right?
Yeah, but a great space. We'll have desks there, and there's still availability for, we have spaces for originators in that space. But I'm really excited just about kind of the history of the building. And I'm also very excited about the conference room that we have, because I really feel like it can be a community hub and a space we can share with other people, bring people in. And so I already have some events lined up, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. So before we came on, you were talking about it being an old pool hall.
Yeah.
So where on First is it?
Okay, so it's right next door to Fred's. So it's between
Okay.
Retreat and Fred's Ale House. So it originally was the old pool hall, and then it was a drugstore. So it does have the original, the tiling that says drugstore.
Very cool.
When you walk in the front, it's really cool, and we've got some great front windows. So, I'm really excited about that space. And I'm drawn to it because my great-grandparents immigrated from Italy back in the early 1900s and had a farm in Snohomish. And so, my grandma,
Cool.
There's so much history with our family there, different houses that people have lived in, and, the schools that, my daughter, my mom, my grandma all went to the same elementary school, so it's just cool to be kind of, I feel like I'm connected to my roots there. So
Yeah. Now, did they all go to Snohomish High School?
So my kids have gone through Glacier Peak, actually.
Okay.
So I have two that graduated Glacier Peak, and then one that's at Valley View currently. So she's South Snohomish. But been a parent in Snohomish School District for a long time, over 20 years. So
Nice.
That's
Now-
awesome.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Snohomish is a good area.
I love it up there. Every time I go up there, it's great.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to go up and see our new offices.
Yeah, it's got
be
great
fun.
energy. And that's, I'm an energy person. So when I walk in that space, it just makes me happy. So I'm
Yeah.
just excited to get to go there every day.
Awesome. So let's shift a little bit. Personal.
Yeah.
What do you like to do when you're not originating?
Right?
Putting
you
out
get to
fires
get out of the
and all that
office.
good stuff.
Well, my husband and I both have very large families, right? So we do spend a lot of time with our families. And then I love to be out in nature and hike. Yeah, and just I'm seeking beauty. I say like natural, just being out in nature is my happy place.
Where's one of your favorite places to hike?
So just for getting out, like on a day-to-day, we like to go to Lord Hill. And a lot of people in Snohomish will say Lord's Hill. Like I say Lord's Hill all the time, but Lord Hill is a great place to get away with the dog. But for hikes, I like to try different places, but Bridalveil Falls is one of my favorites that's close.
so beautiful.
Right? It's a pretty one. Yeah. But yeah, I just like to get out and try new ones. And right now, especially like with COVID in the last couple of years, the trails have gotten so busy. It's really like
Yes.
going and finding trails that are not crazy. And it's funny because I did one up off of not Mountain Loop, but Highway 20. Mm-hmm. And when we had done it early in the spring, like there wasn't too many people up there. And then we went and did another hike up there later in the summer, and it was like insane. So like with social media too, spreading like the trails, like pictures of the different trails, it does. So my mom and I have a joke that we won't go anywhere that's been on social media like the last.
That's actually a good idea.
Right? Because you go to those trailheads and there'll be, no parking, and then you can go to another one that's,
And you
not
have to
that
go-
far away and find parking.
Right. And you have to go early, otherwise the parking
Right.
lot is
Yeah.
full. Have you done Limekill?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, that one's beautiful.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
The moss and on the trees,
Mm-hmm.
it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like the trails
Yeah.
and that, but it has been a little.
Yeah, they're popular.
It's getting harder and harder. And, we kind of thought, oh, well, we'll go to the east side.
Yeah.
It'd be easier. But the problem is getting to the east side to get to the trails. It's the traffic and then trying to get home. And so it's like,
Yeah, you can't hike on the, because I like to hike on a Sunday because like Saturday we'll do our chores or family stuff or whatever.
Right.
And then you go hike on a Sunday, but you can't go up Highway 2 on a Sunday and plan on
try to
getting
get home.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's like,
Okay.
how do you find that happy medium? So
Yeah, definitely. So that sounds like you keep yourself very busy.
Try.
and I'm sure the kids keep you busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My daughter, she's my youngest, is like a little adventurer, so she doesn't like to hike though, but because it's boring.
Oh,
she would
right.
rather like rock climb or jump off something or
Oh, there you go.
How about we take a hike so that you can climb up that rock?
Exactly.
Oh, wow. She's got a little adventurous
Yes,
streak then.
yes, for sure.
That's got to
Yeah.
kind of make the heart pump.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yep. And I'm like, can you like, be a little bit more boring? Yeah. But no, she's got that adventurous spirit, so I love it. But
Sometimes
yeah,
I think
hopefully she
the,
keeps it safe.
yeah, the youngest one usually tends to have a little bit more adventure just because they had to keep up with their older siblings and
Yeah, and for sure, because her sisters are so much older. They both are adults. So that's actually, she's kind of like at this age where she's 13 and she doesn't understand how come she's not treated like an adult. So that's been a fun one, right? So she doesn't remember, her sisters at that age.
I can
So,
relate to that
yeah.
because my sister is 9.5 years older. And so she got married young and I'm, why does she get to go out? Why does she get to stay up? So
Yeah, right?
I can relate to
it's
her.
not fair.
No
yeah.
kidding. Well, let's switch to talk about the market and the business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been a crazy,
Oh my
crazy
goodness,
world.
right? Like,
but then when has it not been? kind of
right,
in
right.
some way?
And my motto has always been like ride the wave. Whatever that wave is, like we'll get through it, and you've got to be flexible. You've got to be agile in this industry, right? It's constantly changing, and
Right.
so we're just out there, being flexible, moving, doing what we need to do to be competitive, right?
So what are you hearing either from whether it's frustrations or questions that you're hearing both from your client side and your real estate partner side?
Yeah, well, on the client side, I would say like a lot of people have this idea, and I know you guys have talked about this on the show or before too, that like there's going to be a we're in a bubble and it's going to burst, and so we're going to wait to buy a home. And right now, and then on the flip side of that, I have people that are like, with rates starting to tick up a little bit, they just want that low rate that their friend got, or that they're hearing, or that they're, so you've got these two different, things here. You've got, people that are wanting to wait, but rates probably will long term be going up. So it's like, then your qualification is going to change how much of a house you can afford, And I don't know. I mean, I don't know that we're going to see any market drop, maybe a softening, And I think we were talking about before the show, like maybe those lumber prices coming down. Maybe we'll be able to get builders in, building more homes, and get some more inventory that will help the market out. But, and then on the other side is people that want that low rate, so they want to hold out for the low rate that I don't, I'm like, I'm pretty conservative, so I'm a person that I'm like, I'm going to lock. My personal opinion is I'm going to lock because I don't want to take the risk, right? I'm just a little bit more conservative. So with my clients that kind of like, I'm holding out for that lower rate, I'm like, I just hope you don't miss the rates we have today, right? So that's a conversation I have a lot lately.
And you're right, especially because the rates have ticked up a little bit, and they're like, well, why can't I get that 2% or whatever it is, and you're like, well, it's not there anymore.
Yeah, or you can, but you have to pay for it, right? Yeah.
Right.
Or the client that comes in and says, when are the rates going to go back down again? And you're like, oh, well, let's get my crystal ball out.
I know.
Oh, my crystal ball broke years ago.
Right. It's like, I would love to tell you, but
I know.
Yeah.
And it's hard because, you'd love to help the clients that way, but I'm sure you get that a lot. It's like, well, when do you see the rates coming back down again? And
Yeah.
it's like, how do you answer that?
Yeah, you just don't. I mean, and then I was taking some time to reflect the other day, because I remember the moment that rates broke 5%. And like how excited we were, like, and just, it felt like the world was going crazy for a minute because we broke under 5%. And so I use that as a reflection point now of like, okay, so maybe we're locking at 3.25% instead of, under 3%. Really, that's a great rate.
I remember going, we've got to refi. We got to refi now.
Yeah.
It's like, we are never going to see the rates go lower than this. And there's a whole generation of people, and we've talked about this before, where this is their new reality. And it's like, you don't remember the years when rates were up around 14, 15, 16%.
Right.
Some of us do. Heaven forbid they ever go there again. But
I know. Well, and it's hard because I'm same thing. I remember when it was that 5% and that, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is just amazing. And now it's like, when was that? It's like I have forgotten.
Right.
And being in the business, you're like, okay, when was that? And we have to remember to really let the clients know, okay, there was a time.
Right.
Time way back when,
Yeah.
And yet still be kind of compassionate to, okay, they don't know.
Right.
And they don't realize, and then be that educational side of the where it's like, okay, but if we do wait, your buying power is likely to go down.
Right. Exactly.
I think people forget that they qualify really by the payment.
Right.
And they think, well, can I buy $1 million house? It's like, well, if you have enough down payment, you can.
Right. Yeah.
We got to get your loan to this amount. And the education part is always.
And building trust too. Like sometimes I don't even think you can do the education piece if they don't, so you've got to get through that like initial trust building with them to like, you can count on me to be giving you good information.
Right.
And, when you hear this 3.25% rate and you instantly think like, oh, you must, like they make an assumption that, you kind of got to go back to, building that relationship first with them. And so you can deliver that education and get to that end game of, securing the client with that relationship.
Right. So we know that there's been a lot of cash buyers out there.
Yes.
But we've heard that it's gone down a little bit.
Which is
in percentage.
so great.
I know,
which is
from
so
25 to 21%, so that's great. What are you doing to help your real estate partners win those offers? Because that's a big challenge. Cash is everything.
King.
So.
Right. And that's just, I have a conversation with my agents. You know, we talk all throughout the transaction, and I'm like, please get me on the phone before you put in an offer so we can strategize together, because I think it's really important to do that. Because we can go, okay, you know, here's where we have all these different levers to pull. So when you know you're going up against a cash offer, you can maybe push it a little higher here, remove these contingencies there, and here's what we can safely do. So it really is a conversation with everybody, right? The agent, to make sure that we can get in there and get the offer accepted. And I don't know, and maybe you can have some feedback on this, is like on the agent side, are you seeing your sellers being like, maybe they want to see the whole package, like the person, or are they really looking at that end dollar? Like if they're like, I want to help this family, you know, you kind of have both sides, right?
You do. And it also kind of depends on the listing agent too.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
ultimately it comes down to the seller's decision, but you know, how is the listing agent presenting this?
Right.
And, you know, as a seller as well, so, you know, sometimes they're a little more compassionate, but you know, it's really hard too. You know, it's human nature to go, okay, show me the money.
Show me the dollar signs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think having the conversation with the listing agent, I always try to have a really authentic conversation with the listing agent. So again, it's all about building trust, I feel like, you know, along the way, and not only selling, you know, maybe you know, putting their mind at ease about the transaction, but also who I am and who they'll be working with, and their confidence in that, knowing that we have, you know, a secure transaction that will close on time and have good communication throughout. So yeah, that's.
Well, and definitely when you do contact them, they know that you are a real person
Right.
that's
Right.
behind that, and that they have your number,
Right.
and are not going to be this person that goes MIA,
Right.
as soon as it's under contract, because that happens in, you know,
It
every
does.
side of
Right.
this business.
Right.
And so when you can build that trust,
Yeah.
that's huge.
Huge.
You know, because the sellers are worried about a lot of things, even though they're getting top dollar for it. You know,
Exactly.
is the appraisal going to come in? Is, you know, this going to happen or that? You know, so there's a lot of concerns, and when you can keep that selling side at ease, that
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah, and I think with our appraisals, that's one of the pieces. Right now I'm working with one, and there's the agent and I are going through these questions, you know, and to make sure that both of us are coming to the client with this information, so they're very educated on the offer that they're making. And one of the questions that comes up is this appraisal going to come in, right? And I don't have a crystal ball, but I do know that most of the time our appraisals are coming in, and when they're not, it's usually the agents know that it's not, because you know the comps. You know
Right.
what's out there, and you know what's selling, and so most of the time we are seeing appraisals coming in,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yes, that is. What do you find is the biggest challenge right now with this market as a lender?
I really would say that those two things we talked about earlier, those two pressures, where it's like trying to get people to commit, to commit now, right? And so learning to sell around those, I think, is the biggest piece. And I'm seeing more competition because of that, because of the rates kind of ticking up. So it is becoming, well, I would say, like, all of a sudden, for me, the last month, I have more people that are apt, and you just got to tip them over the edge, right? And up to that point, everyone was in such like a scurry to get done, that things were moving really quickly. So it's kind of getting people off the fence right now, I would say, is the biggest challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's, kind of telling them about the FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And, you don't want to joke at it lightly, but there is some truth to
Right.
that, is
Right.
that these rates will not stay down.
Right.
They will go up.
They
and
will.
So it's just a matter of when. And, you talked about it earlier, even if the market drops a little bit as far as housing prices and rates go up, you're still right where
Right.
you were. So
And it's really like timing and getting into a home. Like, it's summertime. Let's get you into a home, before school starts, and creating that home for you and your family. And, or, the dream, like, achieving that dream, like now, like I even question, I look back 10 years ago and when I wanted to buy a lot somewhere, or 2 years ago when I wanted to buy on the river in Orondo, and now those lots are $200,000 to $300,000 more than they were. And I'm like, why didn't I do it? So it's that sell too, like do it now, because it's, home prices are always going to appreciate. It's, even everyone that's kind of lived through the meltdown. Yeah, there was a market drop, but you're always going to appreciate long-term, and a home is a long-term investment. So yeah.
Kind of like the stock market, it'll go up and down.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the bubble.
Yeah.
We've been hearing about that bubble all the time, and the media is definitely
right.
putting that fear in.
How can we have a bubble when we have so much demand? There's so many people that, we've got all these millennials that are ready to create homes, for, and start families. And
the Gen Zers are right behind them.
Yeah. And so, and the thing with the Gen Z, you guys, is they're almost like more driven, and they're better savers. They're better, so they're better prepared, I think, than our generation or the generation behind us. They're going in knowing what they have to do, like, and what they want to do, and they have money and they're smart. So I feel like we're going to see even more demand as time goes on.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing, yes, housing prices are escalating at a rapid pace.
Yes.
The thing is that people have equity in their homes.
Right.
Not back in the day where, okay, you have a loan, you've got a blood pressure,
You have a dog? Let's keep your dog alone.
The loans are good loans. Everybody is actually qualified for the loans. And so people can afford their homes.
Right. They have money in the bank. They're not, over, maxed out or over their limit. They've got the equity. So I just don't see that. I mean, if anything, if you have like some sort of shift, people will be able to sell, and there'll be, more inventory that comes on. And that's where I think you'll see a leveling out maybe, but not a bursting, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that people just have to remember is just be calm. It's all good. People are always going to need houses.
Right.
And homes and that. So that's where it will be fine. Yes, we'll probably see a little dip.
Yep.
I don't think we're going to see anything that we saw back in the day.
No.
No, and unfortunately, back in the day is actually what led us partially to this, is because we put such a halt on building.
Right.
And
oh my gosh, and the builder restrictions.
It was just, and so now we're kind of paying the piper for that. So we had all these years of not building, and there was, there's a consistent amount of houses that need to come on the market to keep up with demand, and we restricted it, and now.
And especially
we're paying
with
for it.
The condo building, and the lower, having some of those lower price points on the condos, I think that really hurt, that lower end price point. And that's where a lot of this demand is right now, that that affordable home is not out there.
Yeah.
And so you see more condos going up now that restrictions have eased, but it's still going to take so long to build that up. Inventory up.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit, like, why you got into the business.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's just like my river, right? My path that I always tell my kids that, like, I'm just so excited to see where you land, because it's all like, you can't plan for your life, right? It's like, as much as you try, like, sometimes you just end up, little decisions here or there kind of land you there. And it really was just getting into the banking and then figuring out I liked the sales side. I really do love helping people. I love connecting with people. I love being, social and interacting, getting to know people's stories. So for me, that's like, even this today, like spending time with you guys, like, this is what I love, right? I love the people part of what I do. So, and I've tried other things, like, I went to go work in the schools when my last daughter was born, and, I just, being in mortgage it's just in my blood, and it's what I know. So it's like, that's just what I was drawn back to. And I do love what I do. I do. And, my kids, I'm like, are you going to do mortgage? No, they're like, no. And I'm like, but I do love what I do. So.
My daughter got into it too.
Did
so
she?
followed me. I'm like, are you sure this is what you want to do?
Yeah, and there's sometimes I do say we're all adrenaline junkies, right? Like you almost have to be in this. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just constant,
That firefighter personality.
Right. Yes, exactly. And I also love when you, especially your hardest transactions, when you cross the finish line, there's a sense of accomplishment. So I'm somebody that's like kind of task oriented. I like to check boxes, right? So when I finish a loan and can check that box and, we've done it together and it just feels so good,
Yeah. And then when the client afterwards is like, wow, this wasn't as hard as I thought it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That's a big check
Yes,
off, right? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
'cause it's a stressful time.
Right. And that's the other thing is having compassion. And that's where I try to, build that relationship with my clients because, a lot of times it'll be a text with, how are you doing? How are you feeling today? Because what stress can I take off of you? Because I know it's stressful. We bought a condo up in Bellingham a couple years ago, and it had been a long time since I'd gone through a purchase loan. We built our house like 20 years ago. And so going through a purchase transaction was so stressful. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I do this all the time. How come this is stressful for me? But it was a great reminder to me that, to feel what it's like to be in that transaction and kind of seeing that end game, and that 3 to 4 weeks that you're in it is stressful. Yeah. So that helps, I try to remember that and be a resource to my clients just kind of for that emotional piece as well.
Right. That's what I did when I refinanced. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, now I remember what they're feeling like.
Yes. This is why people are crazy when they're going through this. It is very tough. Yeah. Is there a certain niche that you like to work with the most? Or is it just kind of everybody?
It's everybody. I like the variety. I really like the Snohomish County market, though. I do. I had worked on the east side, and Seattle and Bellevue are so competitive, and it's just a really different marketplace. I really like Snohomish because I do feel like it is more relationship driven in Snohomish County. I can feel like I'm connecting with members of the community. But I do business everywhere. I'm licensed in Washington, Idaho, and California. And then a lot of my business is along the 405 corridor or south. So do business all over Washington State. Actually have most of my loans that funded this past month are Wenatchee and Yakima. So
oh, wow.
A lot of people,
moving
east.
Are moving east. More affordable.
Yes.
And, not only the housing is affordable, but living there is much more affordable.
Yeah.
2 clients moving to the Yakima area from Seattle. Yeah, because I think Wenatchee and Chelan, those prices kind of are already escalated quite a bit. But I think I'm seeing this shift kind of more to the southern part of the state where maybe there is some affordability still, but it is escalating as well. So it's crazy. It's just everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It is. And we've talked about it before. It's usually you get your buyer's market, seller's market, buyer's market. This is, I think, the longest time I've seen it as a seller's market that I can remember. So it's just like, hang on, buyers.
We might get you there.
And, you have more and more people that are like, okay, we would sell if we could. We would, if we had somewhere to go, we'd sell if we had. And then more people are starting to go, maybe we have somewhere to go, right? Finding somewhere to go because they want to take advantage of these prices. But you just really have to leave this market. That's the problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome.
Yeah,
I'm so glad to have you here. I was really looking forward to this.
I know. It's always fun to talk about the industry and, as a fellow lender to
and I love
and
that's one thing I love about this industry too. I don't know about you, but I love the relationships I have with other lenders and the information we can garnish from each other, like what's working for you, what's not working, what I can do that you can't do, or vice versa, and I feel like there's a lot of camaraderie in the industry. And I've made a lot of friends, so I love it.
It is. There's abundance out there, and that's what's nice. And if we build, and that's one of the things with Women's Council. So we'll find out next how you got involved with Women's Council. But they are a group of women that want to help each other. So how did you get introduced? And
Well, I'm kind of passionate about empowering women, right? I was a coach for a number of years with Girls on the Run. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that program, but it's a program that works with young girls in schools, like 3rd through 6th grade, and they go through a 10 to 12 week program where they learn to run a 5K, but they learn life lessons throughout, and it's just really a cool program. But it is a passion of mine. So when I was managing at BECU and looking to where we wanted to put, our dollars for support and our time for support, I landed on Women's Council, Seattle Metro, and got involved there. And I just love that, the group. Like, I had so much fun and made so many, good relationships there. And so when I made this transition, then I looked to the Snohomish group, and it's been great. So lots of good people. And it's fun because, we've got people here that, I raised my kids with, in the schools and different connections. So it's great to be part of the Snohomish network now. But yeah, just everything they stand for.
And this is your first year being a strategic partner, isn't it?
Yeah, for Snohomish, for affiliate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was strategic partner with Seattle Metro, but affiliate here. Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm in loving book club.
I know. We got to get one going
when I can.
So again, here we're almost finished with this one.
We are almost finished with this month. Yeah, with Jeff Miltenberger with the Miltenberger team's been, doing this month with. Why do I always just kind of space things out?
Oh, I hear you. But it's a good book.
Happens.
Yeah. I know.
But it's good. It's good to get that FaceTime with a small group. So that's been
well, and it's nice to be able to get together again.
Oh yes.
And are you going to be? So our next event is at Uptown
Cellars
in
Snohomish.
Yes, the 15th.
15th from 4 till 6.
Yes,
Are you going to be there?
I will be there, and I love Uptown. It's in my neck of the woods, so it's one of my favorite places.
I know, that's so nice to have things in your neck of the woods, because I'm even farther outside of Snohomish. I'm like, yay, sticking in town.
I love it. Yeah, so it's nice. I've been at other events because I'm part of the Snohomish Chamber, so we've done a couple events there too. And are we going to be in the upstairs space there? Yeah,
we're going to have the upstairs space, and we should have some raffles too.
Ooh, I'll bring a raffle.
Yeah, we've got some raffles going, and we'll mixing and meeting and talking. And
we just had one at McMenamins, and that was awesome. We were outside.
Oh, that was a beautiful evening.
You were there. Jay was there.
I was just finishing getting my fillings. I was at the dentist chair, so couldn't make it.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day. It was just nice to see everybody, and so
I'm excited. And I'm excited. I'll have like an open house when we open our new space too, and hopefully we'll be able to make it up for that.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see your space too.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you again for coming.
Thank you for having me. This was very fun.
Enjoyed this, and looking forward to building our relationships and getting to know you better.
Thank you. Thank you. And excited to dig in more with this group. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Brandy.
Yeah.